This is a tale from a long...
Hold on. I'm gonna just mute my mic because there are people in my house talking and I... So that's just pretty cool. So that one I'm more excited for. I'm hoping, because it's on the same okay, here's the thing. People keep hating on it because they're like, oh, it looks like Breath of the Wild, but it's like lower resolution and like worse graphics. And it's like, homie, but they have like very fine print down there saying like, not the final version. It's not the final version. This isn't what the game is gonna look like a year from now when it's supposed to come out. This is just a beta, dude. Like, this is not what... I mean, even if it does, I mean, fuck, I'm still gonna get it. But, like, this is not the final version. Yeah, Twitter video is ass, because the Twitter downgrades the quality greatly. So, like, this is not what it looks like. Homies be mad, bro. Homies be like, is it bad? I'm mad. If it's good, I'm still mad. Like, people don't give a fuck, bro. I'm just hoping, as opposed to Breath of the Wild, I didn't like that Breath of the Wild didn't really have, like, a whole lot of, like... I never felt like I was progressing. Like, I would do the shrines, I would do the stuff, I would go through dungeons. You were just doing it to do it. It's like you're in this world, and you're just doing things because you want to do things. And, like, I guess some people are like, yo, that's crazy. There's, like, no... You don't feel like you're moving forward at all. Or at least I didn't. Maybe I didn't play a game right. I don't know. We're moving on to the main event. But before that, I just want us to realize... Because right now... Joe Biden's being a failure, dude. So I want us to take a moment to recognize, before we just delve into the absolute absurdity that is the right, I think we just need to remember how the establishment left is. Listen, I'm not one of those people who's like, I'm in the middle. No, I'm far to the left. I'm far over there. I think you need to remember that your racist, xenophobic, homophobic, transphobic, stupid, dipshit neighbor who voted for Trump, you are always going to have more in common and be more dependent on that person's situation than your favorite rich liberal celebrity. And I think that we just need to remember who the common enemy really is, because it's not just like, oh, be happy that we have Biden, because he's not Trump. At the end of the day, we as the working class need to stand against this.
English school person.
Okay, what am I freestyling about?
Gender equality.
Fantastic.
It's okay. International Women's Day. It's he for she.
Yeah.
Gender equality, feminism. Are you a feminist?
Yeah, absolutely.
Dog, the way he talks to her is like he's trying to like pick up a college girl. Are you a feminist? Yeah, absolutely. It's just so fucking weird, dude.
Love that. Great.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, back to this.
We can talk to
We can talk about
I haven't watched the actual rap part for this, so like when I cringe, just know that's legitimate.
Okay, so what kind of beat do you want? Slow or fast?
Whatever you got. Drastically changing the net.
Okay, I think we need to take a moment to just... First of all, this homie is like simping. Simping for Emma Watson. What did you come in here? See, listen, we're cleansing our palates before we go into Ben Shapiro, okay? Like, we can't just go into Ben Shapiro. We need to ease our way in through the establishment and like wealthy liberals, so we can like remember who the real enemy is. It's the bourgeoisie at the end of the day.
Holy cow! This is such a meme. Thank you. This is the Beatbox Dream Team.
Why'd he say that? Why'd he say?
So embarrassed right now. I'm literally the color of like.
Whoa! As a Native American, I take great offense to that. Okay, let's go into Ben Shapiro now.
Hey, and then you got Cartoon Network now pushing anti-racism. Okay, so
I love that opening line. I love that opening line. Now you got Cartoon Network pushing anti-racism. Anti-racism. How dare they?
years later, it's another thing to get mad at Cartoon Network when
Wait, did he just disprove his argument? He just said...
putting out PSAs mirroring...
He said it's one thing to get mad at the Muppets for telling a joke from years ago, and he said it's another thing...
at the Muppets from 1987 for telling a joke that you now consider culturally insensitive 30 years later. It's another thing to get mad at Cartoon Network when Cartoon Network is literally just putting out PSAs mirroring for children.
Wait, so he's admitting that he's being ridiculous. He's admitting that, like, he's being a fucking idiot. Like, it's one thing, like, I don't know. Maybe he's saying, like, the way he's phrasing it makes it sound like, oh yeah, no, it's really bad that the Muppets did that thing a long time ago. That's one thing. But now, like, I don't know, like, this homie's, I don't think he's that good of a speaker, to be honest.
Here's the Cartoon Network pushing what is obviously racism.
Okay.
Well, I'm not an alien, but it definitely matters to me that I'm black. Yeah, it makes a difference that I'm white. I know the two of us get treated very differently. My experience with anti-black racism is really specific. Other people of color experience other forms of racism too.
Right.
You won't see any of that if you don't see color.
Yes, that's true. If you say I don't see color, then you're invalidating the experience. It's like the same shit as, like, if your friend comes to you and is like, hey, this really shitty thing happened, and then you're like, oh, well, I mean, a lot of people deal with that, so it's not that big of a deal. That's the same, it's the same shit, you know? Like, if someone deals with racism, and as a white person, you're like, oh, well, I don't see color. As far as I'm concerned, you're treated the same way as me. Like, that's really invalidating and really shitty, and, like, that's what this is saying. If you think that that's not the case, then you're a racist, like...
See color, be anti-racist.
Yeah.
Shut up, racist children. See color, be...
What? Shut up, racist children? I think he's talking about the racist kids talking in his studio. It's just some kids off camera, like, talking about, like, the Jewish question or something. Actually, no, it's his show, so... He draws the line at anti-Semitism. He can deal with racism, but he draws the line at anti-Semitism, which is... They're in the same vein, but... If he draws the line at anti-Semitism, why did he hire Gina Carano? That's a good point.
So, yes, we are all supposed to see each other as people of different colors whose experiences are completely non-understandable. I cannot understand your experience in any way. And because I can't understand your experience, this is the Robin DiAngelo stuff, I have to listen and believe. I can never try to assess whether your opinion on a matter is non-factually or evidentiarily based.
Bro, why is this dude a sociopath? What the fuck?
Are completely non-understandable. I cannot understand your experience.
I don't think that's... Dude, what the fuck? What does that take? What does that take? What actually is that take? Homie, how many brain cells do you have? The experiences are not understandable. Homie, there's, like, material examples and material evidence of racism and the effects of white supremacy on society. It's not you're literally creating a straw man. Like, it's not that it's not understandable, it's that you are not going to experience it. I mean, Ben Shapiro in some form might experience it as a Jewish person, but he's not going to experience racism. I will never experience racism as a black person or as a East Asian person, probably. I mean, to be honest, I've been hit with, like, every slur for some reason. But, like, I'm not going to experience the material pitfalls in society and hurdles in society that being of those backgrounds would entail. I can still understand that those people go through a struggle that I do not go through. It's really not that hard to wrap your head around. Like, he's trying to intellectualize this into something that's not. Into some, like, weird, like, overly complicated thing that's not there.
In any way. And because I can't understand your experience, this is the Robin DiAngelo stuff, I have to listen and believe. I can never try to assess whether your opinion on a matter is non-factually or evidentiarily based. Instead, I have to listen and believe because, you see, I see color. So I'm an anti-racist, which means I have to listen and believe whatever you say and presumably accept all of your policy recommendations as well in order to destroy the systems of power.
Homie, that's not what anybody's saying. Okay. There's a lot wrong here. There's a lot to unpack here. this is my first time. Like, I have not had any time to think about this or like digest this. This is my, I held this off. I didn't want to watch it until I was on stream. So there's a lot to unpack here. I think that this homie just doesn't have social skills, because if someone comes to you with a problem, even if you're like assessing whether they're like being sincere with you, you still need to show some level of like empathy and like understanding to even try to even like if your immediate response is like, okay, but what if you're lying? Then you're not actually listening. You're looking for holes to poke in their experience, and then from there, the subjectiveness, that requires empathy. You need to be empathetic. If someone tells you they experience racism, and then your immediate response is like, but did you really though? If you're immediately shutting off the idea that someone could have possibly experienced racism, then you're probably a racist. Or you're probably trying to avoid some level of your worldview that is racist, and you don't want to challenge that. The thing about like I see color, it's basically just, that comes from the fact that if you say I don't see color, then you're erasing someone's entire identity. Like someone who is Asian, or someone who is black, or someone who is Latin or Middle Eastern or Indian or Native, they have a culture attached to that identity. And you can't just be like, well, I don't see color, because then you're taking away part of their identity. And you're saying, I don't want to acknowledge that. I don't want to acknowledge that that's part of who you are. I want to see you as the same as me, and I want you to assimilate and be this mild minority. That's the issue of saying I don't see color, is along with the fact that you're invalidating their experiences with racism.
Policy recommendations as well, in order to destroy the systems of power. This is being taught to children.
Okay, but the thing is, like, the systems of power are objective. That's not, like, a subjective thing. You don't get to be like, oh, well, I want to poke holes in that shit. I don't want to listen to, like, your experience. I want to make up my own idea of this shit. Like, that's, like, the fact that there are still systems of power that create segregation, that create redlining, and all this shit are still objectively there. For example, marijuana. White people consume and buy marijuana even before it was legal, at the same rate as any other race. And yet, they have the lowest prison population for nonviolent marijuana crimes. So it's like, you can look at these things and say, there are objective and statistical examples of white supremacy and racism in society. It's not just, oh, I need to listen to and blindly believe you. There are facts, like, dude, Ben, facts don't care about your feelings. Like, this is a clear example where there are objective material circumstances that are affecting the situation, and you're saying, well, actually it challenges me too much to even consider that black and brown people and Asian people and anyone of any different background might go through something different than me. And also, how dare we teach this to kids when really it's just trying to go back on the fact that we've been teaching this like fucking kumbaya, like all races are the same shit to kids for so long. And that's why it's so difficult for just people in general, because they've been taught since they were children to understand the fact that these conditions exist. They don't understand the nuance of this conversation because the framing device of the conversation has always been treat everybody equally. See everybody equally. Don't see people for who they are. See them as we are all one. And as a result, that has created a situation where people don't want to recognize that systems of oppression are real. They don't want to acknowledge how systems of oppression affect different groups in different ways. That's why it's important to teach this to kids. You need to basically like reframe the entire issue and start with the youth to be like, hey, this is how it actually is. And like, you can be like, oh, well, that's vindictive because like, you know, don't teach that to kids. But like, realistically, like, you're creating a great divide between kids of color who understand this shit because they're experiencing racism, and white kids who this, like, their whole worldview is based off this whitewashed image of MLK. That's just like, I have a dream, treat everybody equally. Segregation was bad, slavery was bad, but it was all a very long time ago, so don't worry about it. You know, despite the fact that there are people who are alive now who experience those things.
Yeah, you wonder why people feel like they're under assault? Because they're under assault.
I'm so sorry, Ben, that you feel like you're under assault. Because we're expecting you to acknowledge that people have different backgrounds and different experiences.